Welcome, crew, guys, gals, ghouls, friends, fiends, foes, whoever may be listening. Beyond the omniverse tonight. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas, on a Rocky Mountain High, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, May 19th, Monday, May 20th, for those of you across the pond and beyond. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, and thanks so much for joining me here on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and we are broadcasting live from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight. So glad you could join us wherever you may be listening from. If you're listening live right now, you may be listening to us on KPNL Radio, which you can find on KPNL Radio at kpnl-db.com. You can also find us on eTalk Radio, which you can find at etalk.tv/radio, as well as Spreaker.com under We Are Paradox Media. If you like to watch your podcast as well as listen to it, just mosey on over to our YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, like any video that you've watched or listened to, leave us some comments, whether good or bad, and give that bell a little flick. That way, next time we have a show come up, you'll be made privy of it, and we'll be aware that there's some crazy shenanigans going on out there somewhere. Just here, right here. If you want to listen in your free time, whether you're working it or working out, just tune in wherever you listen to your podcasts under We Are Paradox Media. Alrighty, so last night was awesome. We had Chris Garcia on and his beautiful girlfriend. We had such a good time. We really enjoyed hanging out with both of them and talking about the crazy shenanigans going on in the world today. Also, we had, I think, one person call in and get a reading, and that went really well, too. But yeah, we had a really epic time last night. Hopefully, we have an epic one this evening as well. So, for story time, we're going to be reading Sue Graftons. K is for killing. We're on chapter 16. I believe there's 4 more chapters. So, the very last one will be chapter 20. And I'm hoping that we finish this one tonight. Therefore, out loud, we shall go on to our next book, which is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm super excited about that. All right, let's go. Chapter 16. Oh, hold on a second. Wait a tick. There's supposed to be fucking storytime music. Sorry, guys. I just spilled my drink. Man, I'm such a klutz. Look at me go. Oh, yeah. I was about to say I can't hear it, but I think it's just slow-paced. The emergency room at St. Terry's was bedlam, glimpsed into purgatory. There had been a 6-car accident on the highway, and all of the examination rooms were filled with the injured and dying. In each cubicle, against the hot white cloth of the surrounding screens, I could see a shadow play of medical procedures against a backdrop of supply carts, well-mounted oxygen, and hanging bags of blood and glucose, machinery, etc. Once in a while, the low hum of activity would be cut by hellish shrieks from the patient on the gurney. On one stretcher, unattended, the victim writhed as if licked by flames, crying, "Mercy, have mercy!" I almost said elderly. An orderly came by and moved him into a newly vacated examining room. Doctors, nurses, and medtechs had been mustered from every corner of St. Terry's. I watched them work in perfect concert, actions urgent and precise. The medical soap-operas on TV conveniently omit is all the pain and puke, body functions gone bad, needles piercing flesh, the bruises, and the trembling. or low cries for help. Who wants to sit there and stare at real life? We want all the drama of hospitals without the underlying anguish. In the waiting room, the faces of the relatives who had been notified of the collision were gray and haggard, and spoke in hushed voices. The family members huddled in small groups, their postures bent with dread. Two women clung together, weeping hopelessly. On the other side of the glass doors, at one end of the parking lot, the nicotine addicts had collected in a cloud of cigarette smoke. I'd seen Serena Bonney soon after Danielle was brought in, but she'd been swallowed up by the commotion. When I first pushed open Danielle's front door, she was lying on the floor naked, her face as pink and pulpy as seedless watermelon. Blood spurted from a jagged laceration in her scalp, and she moved her limbs aimlessly as if they might crawl away from her own internal injuries. I disconnected my emotions, doing what I could to stem the bleeding while I grabbed the phone off her bed. The 911 dispatcher had alerted a patrol car and an ambulance, both of which arrived within minutes. Two paramedics had gone to work, administering whatever first aid they could. The bruises on her body formed a pattern of dark overlapping lines that suggested she'd been pounded with a blunt instrument. The weapon turned out to be a rag-wrapped length of lead pipe, and her assailant had tossed it in the bushes on his way out. The patrol officer had spotted it when he arrived and left it for bagging by the crime scene investigators, who showed up shortly afterward. Once the officer secured the scene, we moved out onto the small front porch, standing in a shallow pool of light while he questioned me, taking notes. By then, the alleyway was choked with vehicles. The stutter of blue lights punctuated the darkness. The police radio contributed a deadpan staccato murmur, broken up by raspy intervals of static. A clutch of neighbors had assembled in the side yard in a motley assortment of sockless jogging shoes, bedroom slippers, coats, and ski jackets pulled on over night clothes. A patrol officer began to canvass the crowd, checking to see if there were any other witnesses aside from me. And it's funny how they do that, because people actually go back to the scene of their crimes. So yeah, always look at the crowd, see who's there. For some reason, like, they can't help themselves. Like, they'll either get in the crowd or call the police station, ask questions, give tips, etc. It's pretty weird. A sporty, bright red Mazda pulled up in the alley with a chirp of tires. Richie Phillips emerged and strode up the walk. He acknowledged my presence and then exchanged brief words with the uniformed officer, identifying himself before he moved into Danielle's cottage. I saw him halt on the threshold and back up a step. From the open door, he did a slow survey of the bloody scene, as if clicking off a sequence of time-lapse photos. I imagined the view as I had seen it. The rumpled bedding, furniture knocked sideways and toppled. In the meantime, Danielle had been wrapped in blankets and shifted onto the gurney. I stepped aside for the paramedics as they brought her through the front door, and made eye contact with the elder of the two. "You mind if I ride along?" "Fine with me, as long as the detective doesn't protest." Taney caught the exchange between us and gave a nod of assent. "Catch you later," he said. The gurney was cased into the back of the ambulance. I left my car where it was, parked to one side of the alley behind Danielle's house. I sat beside her blanket-covered form in the rear of the ambulance, trying to stay out of range of the young paramedic who continued to monitor her vital signs. Her eyes were bruised and as swollen as a newly hatched bird's. From time to time, I could see her stir, lined with pain and confusion. I kept saying, "You're going to be okay. You're fine. It's over." I wasn't even sure she had heard me, but I had to hope the reassurance was getting through. She was barely conscious. The flashing yellow lights were reflected in the plate glass storefronts as we sped up State Street. Sirens seemed somehow disassociated from events. At that hour of the night, the streets were largely empty, and the journey was accomplished with remarkable dispatch. It was not until we reached the emergency room that we heard about the multi-car wreck out on 101. I sat out in the waiting room for an hour while they worked on her. By then, most of the accident victims had been tended to, and the place was clearing out. I found myself leafing through the same Family Circle magazine I'd read before. Same perfect woman with the same perfect teeth. The July issue was looking dog-eared. Certain articles had been torn out, and someone had annotated the article on male menopause, painting rude comments in the margin. I read busy day recipes for backyard barbecues, column of readers, suggestions for solving various parental dilemmas involving their children's lying, stealing, and their inability to read. Gave me a lot of faith in the generation coming up. Cheney Phillips walked in. His dark hair was as curly as a standard poodle's, and I noticed that he was impeccably dressed. Chinos and sport coat over an immaculate white dress shirt, dark socks, and penny loafers. He moved to the reception desk and flipped out his badge, identifying himself to the clerk. He was frantically typing up admissions forms. He made a quick phone call. I watched while he followed her into the treatment room, where I'd seen them take Danielle. Moments later, he stepped out into the corridor, again in conversation with one of the ER doctors. Two orderlies emerged, maneuvering really green between them. Okay, let me just check my sound really quick and make sure this is going good. Alright. We are good. Moments later, he stepped out into the corridor, again in conversation with one of the ER doctors. Two orderlies emerged, maneuvering a rolling gurney between them. Danielle's head was swaddled in bandages. Cheney's expression was neutral as she was rolled away. The door disappeared into the next cubicle. Cheney glanced up and saw me. He came out into the waiting room, and took a seat next to me on the blue tweed couch. He reached for my hand and laced his fingers through mine. "How's she doing?" I asked. "We're taking her up to surgery. The doctor's worried about internal bleeding. I guess the guy kicked the shit out of her as a parting gesture. We've got a broken jaw, cracked ribs, damage to her spleen, and God knows what else. Doctor says she's a mess." "She looked awful," I said. Belatedly, I could feel the blood drain away from my brain. Clamminess and nausea filled me up like a well. Ordinarily, I'm not squeamish, but Danielle was a friend and I'd seen the damage. Hearing her injuries cataloged was too vivid a reminder of the suffering that I'd witnessed. I put my head down in between my knees until the roaring ceased. This was the second time I'd found myself fading, and I knew I needed help. Cheney watched with concern. "You want to go find a Coke or a cup of coffee? It'll probably be an hour before we hear anything. I can't leave. I want to be here when she comes out of surgery. Cafeteria's down the hall. I'll tell the nurse where you are, and she can come get us if we're not back by then. Alright, but make sure Serena knows. I saw her back there a little while ago." The cafeteria had closed at 10, but we found a row of vending machines that dispensed sandwiches, yogurts, fresh fruit, ice cream, and hot and cold drinks. Amy bought 2 cans of Pepsi, 2 ham and cheese sandwiches on rye, and 2 pieces of cherry pie on styrofoam plates. I sat numbly at an empty table in a little alcove off to one side. He came back with a tray loaded with the food, straws, napkins, plastic cutlery, paper packets of salt and pepper, and pouches of pickled relish, mustard, ketchup, and mayonnaise. "I hope you're hungry," he said. He began to set the table, arranging condiments on matching paper napkins in front of us. "Seems like I just ate, but why not?" I said. "You can't pass this up." Such a face, I said, smiling. I was too tired to lift a finger, feeling like a kid. I watched while he unwrapped the sandwiches and began to doctor them. We have to make these really disgusting, he said. Well, why? Because then we won't notice how bland they are. He poured a plastic packet with his teeth, squeezing gobs of bright red and yellow across the meat, salt and pepper, and smears of mayonnaise with a scattering of relish. Ew. You want to tell me about it? He said idly while he worked. He popped the lid on a can of Pepsi and passed an amended sandwich to me. That, no arguments. Who can resist? Ugh. I bit into the sandwich, nearly weeping. It tasted so good, I moaned, shifting the bite to my cheek so I could talk while I was eating. I saw Danielle last night. We had dinner together at my place. I told her then that I might see her tonight, but I really went by on a whim. I put a hand against my mouth, swallowing, and then took a sip of Pepsi. I don't know if she had company, but I sat there in the car with the engine running, checking it out. I could see that she had her lights on, so I finally decided to go knock on her door. Worst case scenario, she'd be with some guy and I'd tiptoe away. He probably saw your headlights. Janie had eaten half his sandwich in about 3 bites. Our moms would kill us if they saw us eating this fast. I was bolting food down the same as he was. I can't help it. It's delicious. Anyway, keep talking. I didn't mean to interrupt. I paused to wipe my mouth on a paper napkin. He must have heard me, if nothing else. That car makes a racket like a power mower half the time. Did you actually see him leave her place? I shook my head. I only caught a glimpse of him as he was walking away. By then I was on the porch and could hear her moan. I thought she was entertaining from the sounds that she was making. Like I'd caught her in the throes of passion, maybe faking it for effect. When I saw the guy out in the alley, it occurred to me something was off. I don't know what it was. On the face of it, there was no reason to think he was connected. But it seemed odd somehow. That's when I tried the knob. He probably would have killed her if he hadn't showed. Oh geez, don't say that. I was this close to leaving when I spotted him. What about a description? Big guy? Little? Can't help you there. I only saw him for a second, and it was largely in the dark. You sure it was a man? Well, I couldn't swear it in court, but asking what I thought at the time, I'd say yes. A woman doesn't usually whack another woman with a lead pipe, I said. He was white, I know that. What else? Dark clothes, and I'm sure he was wearing hard shoes because I heard his soles scratching on the pavement as he walked away. He was cool about it, too. He didn't run a nice, leisurely pace, like he was just out for a stroll. How do you know he wasn't? Well, I thought about it briefly. I think because he didn't look at me, even in the dark. People are aware of each other. I sure spotted him. In a situation like that, someone looks at you, you turn and look at them. I notice it most when I'm out on the highway. If I stare at another driver, it seems to catch their attention, and they turn and stare back. He kept his face to the front, but I'm sure he knew I was watching. Cheney hunched over his plate and started in on his pie. We had a couple of cars cruise the area shortly after the call came in, but there was no sign of him. He might live somewhere down there, or had his car parked nearby, he said. Did you say she had a date tonight? Didn't mention an appointment. Could have been Lester, come to think of it. She said he'd been in a foul mood, whatever that consists of. The pie was the type I remembered from grade school, the perfect blend of cherry glue and pink shriveled fruit, with a papery crust that nearly broke the tines of the fork. The first bite was the best. The pie point. Hard to picture Lester doing something like this. If she's beat up, she can't work. Mr. Dickhead's all business. He wouldn't tamper with his girls, more likely, or John. You think she pissed some guy off? Cheney gave me a look. This wasn't spur of the moment. This guy went prepared with a pipe already wrapped to hide his fingerprints. I finished my pie and ran the fork around the surface of the styrofoam plate. I watched the red of the cherry pie filling ooze across the tines of the plastic fork. I was thinking about the goons in the limousine, wondering if I should mention them to Cheney. I'd been warned not to tell him, but suppose it was them. I really couldn't see the motivation from their perspective. Why would an attorney from Los Angeles want to kill a local hooker? If he was so crazy about Lorna, why beat the life out of her as a best friend? And he said, "What?" Well, I'm wondering if this is related to my investigation. So I gotta take this cover off, good. That's way more done, Chris. Could be, I guess. Well, we'll never know unless we catch him. He began to gather crumpling napkins and empty Pepsi cans, piling empty plastic packets on the tray. Distracted, I pinched in, cleaning off the tabletop. When we got back to the emergency room, Serena called the OR and had a chat with one of the surgical nurses. Even eavesdropping, I couldn't pick up any information. "You might as well go home," she said. "Danielle's still in surgery, and when she comes out, she'll be in the recovery room for another hour. After that, they'll take her to intensive care." "Will they let me see her?" I asked. "They may, but I doubt it. You're not a relative." "Well, how bad is she?" "Apparently she's stable, but they're not going to know much until the surgery gets finished. He's the one to give you details, but it's going to be a while yet." Cheney was watching me. "I can run home if you like." "I'd rather stick around here than go home," I said. "I'll be fine if you want to go. Honest, you don't have to babysit me." "Mind, I got nothing better at this hour anyway. Maybe we can find a couch somewhere and let you grab a nap." Serena suggested the little waiting room off ICU, which was where we ended up. Cheney sat and read a magazine, while I curled up on the sofa, slightly shorter than I was. There was something soothing about the snap of paper as he turned the pages, the occasional clearing of his throat. Sleep came down like a weight pressuring me to the couch. When I woke, the room was empty, but Cheney draped his sport coat across my upper body, so I didn't think he'd gone far. I could feel the silky lining on his jacket, which smelled of expensive aftershave. I checked the clock on the wall. It was 3:35. I lay there for a moment, wondering if there was some way to stay where I was, feeling warm and safe. I could learn to live on a waiting room couch, have meals brought in, tend to personal hygiene in the ladies' room down the hall. Would it be cheaper than paying rent, and if something happened to me, I'd be in range of medical assistance? From the corridor, I heard footsteps and the murmur of male voices. Cheney appeared in the doorway, leaning against the frame. "Ah, you're back. You want to see Danielle?" I sat up. "Is she awake?" "Not really. They just brought her down from surgery. It's still groggy, but she's been admitted to ICU. Told the charge nurse you're a vice detective and need to identify a witness." I pressed my fingers against my eyes and rubbed my face. I ran my hands through my hair, realizing that for once, because of Danielle's cutting skills, every strand wasn't standing straight up on end. I gathered my resources and let out a big breath, willing myself back to wakefulness. I pushed myself to my feet and brushed some of the wrinkles out of my turtleneck. One thing about casual dressing, you always look about the same. Even sleeping in a pair of blue jeans doesn't have much effect. From the corridor, we used the house phone to call into ICU. Cheney handled the formalities and got us both buzzed in. "Am I supposed to have a badge?" I murmured to him as we moved down the corridor. "Don't worry about it. I told him you're working undercover as a bag lady." "Oh, hey, Anthony. Good to see you, brother." Yeah, that's pretty funny. I gave him a little push. We waited outside Danielle's room, watching through the glass window while a nurse checked her blood pressure and adjusted the drip on her IV. Like the layout in the cardiac care unit, these rooms formed a U-shape around the nurse's station. Patients clearly visible for constant monitoring. Cheney had chatted with the doctors, and he conveyed the gist of her current situation. He took her spleen out. Orthopedic surgeon did most of the work, as it turns out. Set her jaw, set her collarbone, and taped her ribs. She had 2 broken fingers, a lot of bruising. She should be alright, but it's going to take a while. The cut on her scalp turned out to be the least of it. Mild concussion, lots of blood. I've done that myself. Bang your head on the medicine cabinet. It looks like you're bleeding to death. That's true, like head injuries are pretty severe. The nurse straightened Danielle's covers and came out of the room. 2 minutes, she said, lifting her fingers, forming a V. They stood side by side in silence, looking down at her like patrons, taking in the sight of a newborn baby. Hard to believe she belonged to us. She was nearly unrecognizable. Eyes blackened, jaw puffy, the nose packed and taped. One splinted hand lay outside the covers. All of her bright red acrylic nails had popped off or broken, and it made her poor swollen fingers look bloody at the tips. The rest of her was scarcely more than a child-sized mound. She was drifting in and out, never sufficiently alert to be aware of us. She seemed diminished by machinery, but there was something reassuring about all the personnel and equipment. As battered as she was, this was where she needed to be. Leaving ICU, Cheney put his arm around my shoulders. "You okay?" I leaned my head against him briefly. "I'm fine. How about you?" "Doing okay," he said. He pressed the down arrow for the elevator. "I had the doctor leave orders. They won't give out any information about her condition, and no one gets in." "You think the guy would come back?" It looks like he tried to kill her once. Who knows how serious he is about finishing the job." "I feel guilty, like this is somehow connected to Lorna's death," I said. "You want to fill me in?" "On what?" The elevators opened. He stepped in, and Cheney pressed the 1. We began to descend. "A piece you haven't told me. You're holding something back, are you not?" His tone was light, but his gaze was intent. "I guess I am," I said. I gave a quick sketch of my conversation in the limousine with the Los Angeles attorney and his sidekicks. As we emerged from the elevator, I said, "You have any idea who the guy could be?" He said he represented someone else, but he might have been talking about himself. "I can ask around. I know those guys come up here for R&R. Give me the phone number and I'll check it out." "I'd rather not," I said. "The less I know, the better. Are they running prostitutes up here?" "Maybe something minor, nothing big time. They probably control local action, but that may not mean much more than skimming off the profits. Leave the nuts and bolts to the guys under them." Cheney had parked on a side street closer to the front entrance than the emergency room. We reached the lobby. The gift shop and the coffee shop were both closed. Shadowy interiors visible through a plate glass window. At the main desk, a man was engaged in an agitated conversation with the patient information desk. Cheney's manner underwent a change. His posture shifted into cop mode. His expression became implacable, and his walk took on a hint of swagger. In one smooth motion, he'd flipped his badge toward the clerk, his gaze pinned on the fellow giving her such grief. "Hello, Lester. You want to step over here? We can have a chat," he said. Lester Dudley modified his own behavior correspondingly. He lost his bullying manner and smiled ingratiatingly. "Phillips, nice to see you. Thought I caught sight of you earlier, down around Danielle's place. You hear what happened?" "Not alone, I hope. I hate to see a guy like you lonely. Offer still stands, day or night, male or female. Anything you got a taste for, Lester Dudley provides." "You pandering, Lester?" "I was just teasing, Phillips. Jesus, can a guy make a little joke? I know the law as well as you do, probably better, if it comes right down to it. Mr. Dudley didn't suit my mental image of a pimp. From a distance, he had looked like a surly adolescent, too young to be admitted to an R-rated movie without a parent or guardian. Up close, I had to place him in his early 40s, a flyweight, maybe 5'4". His hair was dark and straight, slicked back away from his face. He had small eyes, a big nose, and a slightly receding chin. His neck was thin, making his head look like a turnip. That's nice. Cheney didn't bother to introduce us, but Lester seemed aware of me, blinking at me slyly like an earth-burrowing creature suddenly hauled into daylight. He wore kids' clothes, a long-sleeve cotton knit t-shirt with horizontal stripes, blue jeans, denim jacket, and Keds. Do they still make those? I don't know. He had his arms crossed, hands tucked into his armpits. His watch was a Breitling, probably a fake, riddled with dials, and far too big for his wrist. It looked more like something he might have acquired sending off ox tops. So how's Danielle doing? I couldn't get a straight answer from the broad at the desk. Cheney's pager went off, and he checked the number on the face of it. Sit. I'll be right back, he murmured. Lester seemed to balance on his heels, ill at ease, staring after Cheney as he moved over to the desk. Thought I ought to break the ice. You're Danielle's personal manager? That's right, Lester Dudley, he said, holding out his hand. I shook his hands with him despite my reluctance to make physical contact. Kinsey Milhone, I said. I'm a friend of hers. When you need information, you can't afford to let personal repugnance stand in your way. He was saying, Quirk's giving me a hard time, wouldn't give me information, even after I explained who I was. Probably one of those women's liberation types, no doubt. How's she doing, poor kid? I heard she really got the shit kicked out of her. Some alcoholic probably did it. They're mean sons of bitches. The doctor left before I had a chance to talk to him, I said. Maybe the clerk was under orders not to give out information. Hey, not her. She was having way too much fun, enjoying herself at my expense. Not that it bothers me. I'm always taking flack from these women's liber types. Can you believe they're still around? I thought they gave it up by now, but no such luck. Here just a week, this bunch of ballbusters came down on me like a ton of bricks, claimed I was engaged in white slavery. Do you believe that? What a crock. How can they be talking about white slavery when half my girls are black? You're being too literal. I think you missed the point, I said. Here's the point, he said. These girls make good money. We're talking big bucks, mega dollars. Where these girls go to get employment opportunities like this. They got no education. Half of them's got IQs in double digits. You don't hear them whining. Do they complain? No way. They're living like queens. I'll tell you something else. This bunch of ballbusters isn't offering a damn thing. No jobs, no training, not even public assistance. What concern could they be? These girls have to earn a living. You want to hear what I told them? I said, ladies, this is business. I don't create the market. It's supply and demand. Girls provide the goods and services, and that's all it is. You think they care? You know what it's about? Sexual repression, male-bashing bunch of fuzz bumpers. They hate guys, hate to see anyone get their jollies with the opposite sex. Or, said I, they might object to the idea of anyone exploiting young girls. Just a wild guess on my part. Well, if that's their problem, what's the beef? He asked. I feel the same way as them, but they treat me like the enemy. That's what I don't get. My girls are clean and well protected, and that's the truth. Danielle was well protected? Of course not, he said, exasperated that I was being so dense. She should have listened to me, I told her. Don't take guys home. I told her, don't do a guy without me outside the door. That's my job. This is how I earn my percentage. I drive her when she goes on appointments. No crazies going to lay a hand on her, and she's got an escort. For Christ's sake, she didn't call. And if she don't call, I can't help. It's as simple as that. Well, maybe it's time she got out of the life, I said. That's what she's saying, and I go, hey, that's up to you. Nobody forces my girls to stay in. If she wants out, that's her business. I'd have to ask how she's going to earn a living. He let that one trail, his voice tinged with skepticism. Meaning what? I'm not following. I'm just trying to picture her working in a department store, waitressing, something like that, a minimum wage type job. Meet up like that? It'd be tough, of course, but as long as she don't mind coming down in the world, who am I to object? You got scars on your face? Might be a trick to get employment. Nobody said anything about facial scars, I said. Where'd you get that idea? I just assumed. Word on the street is she got busted up bad. Naturally, I thought, some unfortunate facial involvement. It's a pity, of course, but a lot of guys try to do that, interfere with a poor girl's ability to make a living, undercut their confidence, and shit like that. Cheney reappeared, his gaze shifting with curiosity from Lester's face to mine. Everything okay? Sure, fine, I said tensely. We're just talking business, Lester said. Never did hear how Danielle is. Is he going to be alright? Time to go, Cheney said to him. We'll walk you out to your car. Hey, sure thing. Where they got her? From orthopedics? I could send some flowers. If I knew. Someone told me her jaw's broke. Probably some coked up lunatic. Skip the flowers. We're not giving out information. Doctor's orders, Cheney said. Pretty smart. I was going to suggest that myself. Keeps her safe from the wrong types. I said too late for that, but the irony escaped him. Once we reached the street in front of St. Terry's, we did a parting round with handshakes, as though we just had a business meeting. The minute Lester's back was turned, I wiped my hand on my jeans. Cheney and I waited on the sidewalk until we saw him drive away. Chapter 17. It was close to 4 in the morning as Cheney's little red Mazda droned through the darkened streets. With the top down, the wind whipped across my face. I leaned my head back and watched the sky race by. On the mountainside of the city, the shadowy foothills were strung with necklaces of streetlights as twinkling as bulbs on a Christmas tree. In the houses we passed, we could see an occasional house light wink on as early morning workers plugged in coffee and staggered to the shower. Too cold for you? This is fine, I said. Lester seemed to know a lot about Danielle's beating. You think he did it? Not if he wanted her to work, Cheney said. The sky at that hour is a plain, unbroken gray shading, down to the black trees. Dew saturates the grass. Sometimes you can hear the spritzing of the rainbirds. Computers programmed to water lawns before the sun was fully risen. The cycle of low rainfall persisted as it had in the past. Water usage would be restricted and all the lush grass would die. During the last drought, many homeowners had been reduced to spraying their yards with dense green paint. Sounds like China. On Cabana Boulevard, a kid on a skateboard careened along the darkened sidewalk. It occurred to me that I'd been waiting to see a juggler, a man on the bike, with his tail light and pumping feet. He was beginning to represent some capricious force at work, elfin and evil. Some figment of my imagination dancing along ahead of me like the answer to a riddle. Wherever I went, he'd eventually appear, always headed somewhere in a hurry, and never quite arriving at his destination. Cheney had slowed, leaning forward to check the skateboarder as we passed him. Cheney raised a hand in greeting, and the kid waved back. Who's that? I asked. Works night maintenance at the convalescent home. He had his driver's license pulled on a DUI. Actually, he's a good kid, he said. Moments later, he turned into Danielle's alley, where my car was still parked. He pulled in behind the VW, shifting into neutral to minimize the rumble of his engine. How's your day looking? Will you have time to sleep? I hope so. I'm really bushed, I said. Are you going to work? I'm going home to bed, for a couple of hours at any rate. I'll give you a call later. If you're up for it, we can get a bite to eat someplace. Let me see how my day shapes up. If I'm not in, leave a number. I'll get back to you. You going into the office? Actually, I thought I'd go over to Danielle's and clean. Last I saw, the place was covered with blood. You don't have to do that. The landlord said he'd have a crew come in first thing next week. He can't get them till Monday, but it's better than you doing it. Don't mind. I'd like to do something for her. Maybe pick up her robe and slippers and take them over to St. Terry's. Up to you, he said. I'll watch till you take off. Make sure your car starts and the boogeymen don't get you. Opened the car door and got out, reaching down for my handbag. Thanks for the ride and for everything else. I mean that. You're welcome. I slammed the door, moving over to my car, while Cheney hovered like a guardian angel. The VW started without a murmur. I waved to demonstrate that everything was A-okay. Ready to let go. He followed me home, the two of us winding up and down the darkened streets. For once, I found a parking space right in front of my place. At that point, he seemed to feel that I was safe. He shifted into first and took off. I locked the car, went through the gate, and walked around back, where I unlocked my front door and let myself in. I scooped up the mail and shoved through a slot, flipped a light on, set my bag down, and locked the front door behind me. I started peeling off my clothes as I climbed the spiral stairs, littering the floor with discarded articles of clothing, like those scenes in romantic comedies where the lovers can hardly wait. I felt that way about sleep. Naked, I staggered around, closing the blinds, turning off the phone, dousing lights, and crawled under the quilt with a sigh of relief. I thought I was too tired to sleep, but as it turned out, I wasn't. I didn't wake until well after 5 p.m. For a moment, I thought I'd slept all the way around the clock until the next dawn. I stared up at the clear plexiglass dome above my head, trying to orient myself in the half-light. Given the early February sunsets, the day was already draining away like gray water from the bottom of a bathtub. I assessed my mental state and decided I'd probably had enough sleep, then realized I was starving and hauled myself out of bed. I brushed my teeth, showered, and shampooed my hair. Afterward, I pulled on an old sweatshirt and worn jeans. Downstairs, I collected a plastic bucket full of rags and cleaning products. Now that the immediate crisis had passed, I found myself turning into the rage that I felt for her assailant. Men who beat women were almost as low as the men who beat kids. I tried Cheney's number, but he was apparently already up and out. I left a message on his machine indicating the time of day and the fact that I was too hungry to wait for him. When I opened my front door, a manila envelope dropped out of the frame, where it had been tucked. Across the front, Hector had scrawled a note. Friday, 5:35 p.m. Knocked, but no answer. Amended transcript and tape enclosed. Sorry I couldn't be more help. Give me a call when you get back. He jotted down a phone number and a number for the studio. He must have stopped by and knocked while I was in the shower. I checked the time. He'd apparently been there only 15 minutes before, and I had to guess it was too soon to catch him at either number. I tucked both the tape and the transcript in my handbag and then took myself to a coffee shop where breakfast was served 24 hours a day. That sounds grand. I studied Hector's notations while I made a pig of myself, hastily consuming a plate full of sorts of foodstuffs nutritionists forbid. He hadn't managed to decipher much more than I had. To my page of notes, he added the following. Hey, I hate that stuff. Myself think. You're not. Oh, come on, I'm just kidding. Laughter. But you have to admit, it's a great idea. She goes in at the same time every day. Fifi, you're sick. People shouldn't get in my clatter clink sound of water squeak. If anything happens, I'll thump thump. I'm serious. Stubby. No link. Laughter, chair scrape, rustle, murmur. At the bottom of the page, he'd scrawled 3 big question marks by sentiments exactly. When I reached Danielle's cottage, I parked in the alleyway near the hedge, as I had the night before. It was dark by then. At this rate, I might never see full sun again. I took out my flashlight and checked the batteries, satisfied that the beam was still strong. I spent a few minutes walking along the borders of the alleyway, using the blade of light to cut through the weeds on either side. I didn't expect to find anything. I wasn't really looking for evidence as such. I wanted to see if I could figure out where Danielle's assailant might have gone. There were any number of places where he might have hidden, yards he could have crossed to reach the streets on either side. In the middle of the night, even a slender tree trunk can provide cover. For all I knew, he'd taken up position within easy viewing distance, watching the ambulance and all the cop cars arrive. I went back to Danielle's cottage, where I crossed the backyard to the main house. I climbed the back steps and knocked on the lighted kitchen window. I could see Danielle's landlord rinsing dinner dishes before he placed them in the rack. He caught sight of me at just about the time and came to the back door, drying his hands on a dish towel. I got a key from him, pausing to chat for a few minutes about the assault. He'd gone to bed at 10. He said he was a light sleeper, but his bedroom was on the second floor, the street side of the house, and he'd heard nothing. He was a man in his 70s, retired military, though he didn't say much of which branch he was in. If he knew how Danielle made a living, he made no comment. He seemed as fond of her as I was, and that was all I cared about. I professed ignorance of her current status, except to indicate that she'd survived and was expected to recover. He didn't press for specifics. I walked back along the brick path to Danielle's small porch. The crime scene tape had been removed, but I could see traces of fingerprint powder around the doorknob and frame. The rag wrapped with a bloody pipe would probably be tested for fingerprints, but I doubted it would yield much. I let myself into the cottage and flipped on the overhead light. The spattered blood was like your shot. The dark red pattern of the smears and exclamation marks where the force of the blows had flung blood in 2 tracks across the wall. The blood-stained rug had been removed, probably tossed in the trash. The blood on the baseboard looked like drops of paint. The entire was barely a room and a half and deeply constructed. I toured the premises, though there wasn't much to see. Like mine, Danielle's living quarters occupied a very small space. It looked as though Danielle's battle with her assailant had been confined to the front room, most of which was taken up with a sitting area and a king-size bed. The sheets and comforter were a Laura Ashley print, pink and white floral polished cotton with matching drapes, and a correlating pink and white striped paper lined the walls. Our kitchen consisted of a hot plate and a microwave oven sitting atop a painted chest of drawers. The bathroom was small, painted white, with tiny old-fashioned black and white tiles on the floor. The sink was skirted in the same Laura Ashley print she'd used in the bedroom. She'd bought a matching polished cotton shower curtain with a valance covering the rod. At the wall opposite the John was a mini gallery. A dozen framed photographs were hung close together, many sitting crooked on the hangers. Danielle must have been flung against the connected wall during the assault. Several had been knocked off, and the wall lay face down on the tile floor. I lifted them with care. 2 of the frames had smashed on impact, and the glass on all 4 was either badly cracked or broken. I stacked the 4 damaged pictures together, tossed glass shards in the trash, and then straightened the remaining photographs, pausing to absorb the subject matter. Danielle as a baby. Danielle with mom and dad. Danielle at about 9, in a dance recital with her hair done up. I went back into the front room and found a thick sheaf of brown grocery bags tucked in the slot between the wall and the chest of drawers. Put the damaged frame photographs in the bag and set them by the front door. I'd seen similar frames at the drugstore for a couple of bucks a piece. Maybe I'd stop by and pick some up as replacements. I pulled all the linens off the bed and set them out on the porch. Even the dust rubble had picked up a spray of blood posies. I'd make a trip to the cleaners in the morning. I filled my bucket with hot water, mixing a potent brew of cleaning solutions. I wiped down the walls, scrubbed the baseboards and floors until the soapy water turned a frothy pink. I dumped that lot, refilled the bucket, and started over again. When I'd finished, I pulled out the transcript and sat down on the bed, using Danielle's phone to try Hector at his home number. He answered promptly. Mrs. Kinsey here. I'm glad I caught you at home. I thought you might be on your way to the studio. Not this early in today, not at all. I work Saturday through Wednesday, so Thursday and Friday nights are usually my weekend. Last night was an exception, but I try to keep those to a minimum. I got hot plans tonight. I give a beauty bath, and then she gives me one. You got the transcript? I take it. Yeah, and I'm sorry I missed you. I was in the shower when you dropped it off. It's been a few minutes commiserating with one another about the poor quality of the tape recording. What did you make of it? Not much. I picked up a couple of words, but nothing that made any sense. You have any idea what they're talking about? Nope. Lorna sounds upset with him, is mostly what I pick up. You sure it's Lorna? I couldn't swear, but I'm pretty sure it's her. What about the guy? I didn't recognize his voice. Doesn't sound like anyone I'm familiar with. You ought to listen again yourself and see what you hear. Maybe we can take turns filling in the missing pieces like a jigsaw puzzle. We don't have to make it our life's work, I said. I'm not even sure it's relevant, but I'll have another go at it when I get home. I glanced down at the annotated transcript. What about the word Rifey? That seems odd, doesn't it? Rifey who? And why Stubby? I wasn't real sure about that one, but it's the only word I could think of. The phrase that keeps running through my head is that business about she goes in at the same time every day. I don't know what the hell that's about. And why Stubby? Lorna says that, I think. Well, this may sound odd, but I'll tell you what I got on that. I don't think she's using Stubby as an adjective. There's a guy here in town with the nickname Stubby. She could be talking about him. That's an interesting possibility. This was someone she knew? Presumably, his real name is John Stockton. Call him Stubby because he's a little short fat guy. He's a developer. Wait a minute. I couldn't. I just heard that name. I'm almost sure Clark Esselman referred to him. Assuming there's only one. Was he a member of the Colgate Water Board? Alright, let's leave it at that and go to our first music break. So on this music break, we have Miss Mia Savage with her band Antidote for Savages. She's going to be singing Lemire in Crypto, Your Skeleton Are No Reality, and Let Me Be Your Home. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break. Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining me this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. So we've been reading Sue Graftons' Case for Killer. Hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. Let's get back to it, shall we? Hector laughed. Whoa, no chance. They'd never let him on board. Talk about a conflict of interest. He'd run himself into half a dozen rich schemes. Oh, well, then it's probably not related. Was she talking to or about him? About him, I'd guess. Actually, there could be some marginal connection. Stockton would have to apply to the water board if he were trying to get a permit for some kind of development. Since Lorna babysat with Esselman, she might have heard about Stubby in passing. Yeah, but so what? In a town like this, you hear about a lot of things. But that doesn't get you killed. How hard is it to get a permit? It's not hard to apply, but with the current water shortage, it would take a hell of a project to get them to say yes. I said, well, I ran the idea around a couple of laps, but it didn't seem to produce any insights. I don't know how that pertains. If they're talking about water, it might tie in somehow with she goes in at the same time every day. Maybe that reference is to swimming? You know, Lorna jogged, but would she also swim? Not that I ever heard. Besides, if the guy's talking to Lorna, why refer to her as she? He's got to be talking about someone else, and Stockton doesn't have anything to do with swimming pools. Hello? I hear something out there. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Weird. Could be a ghosty, I'm not sure. Okay. That's what I ever heard. Besides, if the guy's talking to Lorna, why refer to her as she? He's got to be talking about someone else, and Stockton doesn't have anything to do with swimming pools. He does malls and subdivisions, he said. With a phrase like that, they could be talking about work. She goes in to work at the same time every day, or she goes into bed at the same time every day. True. Oh well, maybe something will occur to us. Give it a rest. Anything else strike you? I asked. Not really, just that Lorna sounded pissed. I thought so too, which is why I listened so carefully. Whatever the guy's saying, she didn't like it a bit. Oh well, like you say, if it's ever going to make any sense, you'll probably have to leave it alone for a while. If I have a brainstorm, I'll give you a buzz. Well, thanks, Hector. By the time I locked up and returned the key to Danielle's landlord, it was close to 6:45, and the place was looking better. The smell of ammonia suggested an institutional setting, but at least Danielle wouldn't have to come home to shambles. I went out to my car, arms loaded with odds and ends. I set the plastic bucket on the front seat and the passenger side and stuck the bundle of bedcloths on the back seat, along with the paper bag holding the broken picture frames. I slid in behind the steering wheel and sat for a moment, trying to think what to do next. Hector's suggestion about Stubby Stockton as the subject of Lorna's taped conversation was mildly intriguing. From what I'd overheard of Clark Esselman's comments on the phone, Stockton would be present at the upcoming board meeting, which was tonight, by calculations. With luck, maybe I'd run into Serena, and I could quiz her again on the subject of missing money. We found a public payphone at the nearest gas station and looked up the number for the Colgate Water District. It was way past working hours, but the message on the answering machine gave details about the meeting, which was scheduled at 7 in the conference room at the district offices. I hopped in the car, fired up the engine again, and hit the highway heading north. 14 minutes later, I pulled into the parking lot behind the building. I'm comfortably aware of a steady stream of cars both ahead of me and behind. Like some kind of car rally, we nosed into parking slots one after the other. I shut my engine down and got out, locked the car behind me. It was easy enough to determine where the meeting was being held simply by following the other attendees. At the back end of the building I could see lights on, and I trotted in that direction, starting to feel competitive about the available seating spaces. The entrance to the conference room was tucked into a small enclosed patio. Through the plate glass window, I could see the water board members already in place. I went in, anxious to get settled while there were still seats left. The meeting room was drab and functional. Brown carpet, walls paneled in dark wood veneer, an L of folding tables up front, and 35 folding chairs for audience. There was a big coffee urn on a table to one side, a stack of cups, sugar packets, and a big jar of cremora. The lighting was fluorescent and made all of us look yellow. The Colgate water board consisted of 7 members, each with an engraved plate indicating name and title. Counsel for the Water District, the General Manager, and Chief Engineer, the President, and 4 directors, one of whom was Clark Esselman. The board member named Ned, whom he'd talked to by phone, was apparently Theodore Ramsey, now seated 2 chairs away. The Bob and Drusilla he'd mentioned in passing were Robert Innisbrook and Drusilla Chatham, respectively. Appropriately enough, the water board members had been provided big pitchers of ice water, and they poured and drank water lustily while discussing its scarcity. Some of the members I knew by name or reputation, but with the exception of Esselman, I didn't recognize any of their faces. Serena was in the front row, fussing with her belongings, and trying to act as if she weren't worried about her father. Esselman in the suit and tie looked frail but determined. He was already engaged in conversation with Mrs. Chatham, the woman to his left. Many people had already assembled, and most of the available folding chairs were filled. I spotted an empty chair and claimed it, wondering what I was doing here. Some attendees had briefcases or legal pads. The man next to me had written out a commentary in longhand, which he seemed to be refining while we waited for the meeting to begin. I turned and checked the rows behind me, all of which were occupied. Through the plate glass window, I could see additional people seated at the picnic table or lounging against the ornamental fence. Speakers on the patio allowed the overflow crowd to hear the proceedings. Copies of the agenda were stacked up front, and I left my seat briefly so that I could snag one for myself. I gathered that members of the audience would be free to address the board. To that end, requests were filled out and submitted. There were many consultations back and forth. People who seemed to know one another, some in small groups, representing a particular petition. I wasn't even sure what the issues were. And scenting the agenda I scanned made it all sound tedious. I wasn't sure that I cared. I wondered if I'd be able to identify Stubby Stockton on sight. A lot of us looked short and fat while seated. At 7:03, the meeting was called to order, with a roll call of board members present. Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved without modification. Various items on the consent agenda were approved without discussion. Much rustling and coughing and throat clearing throughout. Everyone seemed to speak in a monotone, so that every subject was reduced to its most boring components. Service policies were discussed among the board members and the sort of dry style reserved for congressional filibusters. If anything was actually being accomplished, it was lost on me. What struck me as curious was that Clark Esselman, in his telephone conversation with Ned at the house, It seemed quite passionate. Behind the scenes, feelings apparently ran high. Here, every effort was made to neutralize emotion in the interest of public service. One by one, members of the audience were able to approach the podium, addressing the board members with prepared statements. These they read aloud in their best sing-song public speaking voices, managing somehow to deliver their comments without any spontaneity, humor, or warmth. As in church, the combination of body heat and hot air was bringing the surrounding air temperature up to the aesthetic levels. Or anesthetic, sorry. For someone as sleep-deprived as I'd been for the last 5 days, it was hard to keep from toppling off of my chair sideways. I'm ashamed to confess I actually nodded off once, a sort of dip in consciousness that I became aware of only because my head dropped. It must have happened again because, just as I began to enjoy a much-needed snooze, I was jerked upright by a heated verbal exchange. Relatedly, I realized that I'd missed the opening round. Clark Esselman was on his feet, stabbing a finger at the man at the podium. It's people like you who are ruining this county. The man he was addressing had to be John Stubby Stockton. He was maybe 5 feet tall and very heavy set, with a round baby face and dark thinning hair. He was a man who perspired heavily, and throughout the interchange he mopped at his face with his handkerchief. People like me? Oh, really, sir, let's leave personalities out of this. This is not about me. This is not about you. This is about jobs for this community. This is about growth and progress for the citizens of this county. Wash. This is about you making money, you damn son of a bitch. This sounds like a really good city council meeting. You damn son of a bitch. Damn bitch. What do you care about the citizens of this county? By the time this abomination comes to pass, leave out of it, counting your profits while the rest of us are stuck with this eyesore for centuries to come. Like lovers, Clark Esselman and John Stockton, having once engaged, seemed to have eyes only for each other. The room was electrified. A ripple of excitement undulated through the audience. Stockton's voice was syrupy with loathing. Sir, at the risk of offending, let me ask you this. What have you done to generate employment or housing or financial security for the citizens of Santa Teresa County? Would you care to answer that? Don't change the subject, because the answer is nothing. You haven't contributed a stick, not a nickel or a brick, to the fiscal wealth and well-being of the community you live in. That is untrue. That is untrue, Esselman shouted. Stockton forged on. You've blocked economic growth. You've obstructed employment opportunities. You've denounced developments, impeded all progress. You've got yours. What do you care what happens to the rest of us? We can all go jump in the ocean as far as you're concerned. You're damn right you can jump in the ocean. Go jump in the ocean. Gentlemen, the president had risen. Well, let me tell you something. You'll be long gone, and the opportunity for growth will be long gone. And who's going to pay the price for your failure of imagination? Gentlemen.
Well, I figured out how to open the door and it's not opening.
How?
So you take, like, a thin piece of wood, you shove it in between the, like, you know that retracting thing?
Yeah.
The retracting thing in that, bronze thing that it goes into. Shove it in between there and then twist it. It opens.
Nice.
So basically all you need is just something inside that hole.
Right.
To fix the camera.
Sounds good to me.
It's already 8:29?
Yeah. I went out there for break and you guys were outside. But you should go because I'm reading a story for story time.
Jazzy loves being out there for that long.
I know, she's so cute. You guys put her back in the coop? And she... Well, yeah. In that one coop she was in?
No.
Oh, where'd you guys put her?
in the box in our room.
Oh. Well, she probably would like that better. Anyways, love you, boy.
Love you too.
The president was banging his gavel on the table without any particular effectiveness. Serena was on her feet, but her father was waving her aside with a kind of peremptory motion that had probably intimidated her from childhood. What?
And then that flew all over them.
Yeah, that was like a few pages ago. Yes. Go on, get out. Get, go. Go on, man. Oops. Don't make me hiss at you like Gauzy's gonna do in the future.
She is a hissing goose.
It could be. Come on now. Seriously. Get out. Go now. Get, go.
Oh, look, I'm Zoe.
Yeah, that's alright. I can imagine it. No, dude, go away. Oh, good job.
Thanks.
You crazy kid. Okay, so I saw her sink back down while he shouted, trembling, "Save your speeches for the Rotary, young man. I'm sick of listening to this self-serving poppycock. The truth is, you're in this for the almighty buck, and you know it. If you're so interested in growth and economic opportunity, then donate the land and all the profits you stand to make. Don't hide behind rhetoric. You donate. Why don't you give something? You got more than the rest of us put together. And don't talk to me about hiding behind rhetoric, you pompous ass." The uniformed security guard materialized at Stockton's side and took him by the elbow. Stockton took him off, enraged, but a business associate appeared on the other side of him, and between the two of them, he was eased out of the room. Hesselman remained on his feet, his eyes glittering with anger. From the general swell of side conversations that followed, I leaned over to the man next to me. I hate to seem ignorant, but what was that about? Let me turn this down. John Stockton's trying to get water permits for a big parcel of land he wants to turn around and sell to Marcus Petroleum. If stuff like that had to go through the county board of supervisors, I said. It was approved last month by a 5-0 vote on the condition that they use reclaimed water from the Colgate Water District. Looked like it was going to pass without opposition, but now Hasselman is mounting a counterattack. But why all the heat? Well, Stockton's got some land the old companies would love to have, all worthless without water. Hasselman supported him at first, but now he's suddenly opposed. Stubby feels betrayed. I thought back to the phone call that I'd overheard. Hasselman had mentioned the boards being sweet-talked into some kind of deal while he was in the hospital. Was Stockton working on this while Hasselman was out ill? You bet. Damn near succeeded too. Now that he's back, he's using every ounce of influence to get the application turned down. The woman in front of us turned and gave us a look of reproach. There's still business going on here, if you don't mind. Sorry. So the president of the board was trying desperately to establish order. Through the audience didn't seem particularly interested. I put my hand across my mouth. "Have they voted on this?" I said in a lower tone. The guy shook his head. "Which issue came up a year ago. And the water board set up a blue ribbon panel to investigate and make recommendations. They had environmental impact studies done. You know how it is, mostly a stalling technique in hopes the whole thing would go away. The matter won't actually come to a vote until next month. That's why they're still here, sharing testimony on the subject." The woman in front of us raised a finger to her lips, and the conversation dwindled. In the meantime, Hasselman sat down abruptly. His color high, Serena went down around the end of the table and joined him on his side, much to his displeasure. Stubby Stockton was nowhere to be seen, but I could hear him on the patio, his voice still raised in anger. Someone were trying to calm him, but without much success. The meeting picked up again, the president moving adroitly to the next item on the agenda. The fire sprinkler system agreement that didn't upset anyone. By the time I slipped out, Stockton was gone and the patio was empty. Chapter 18. It's funny, like, when you see cages bent, this one was bent. So I drove to St. Terry's, stopping to fill my car with gas on the way. I knew I'd reach the hospital after visiting hours had ended, but ICU had its own set of rules and regulations. Family members were allowed 1 5-minute visit out of every hour. The hospital was brightly lit as a resort hotel, and I was forced to circle the block looking for a parking space. I moved through the lobby and took a right turn, heading for the elevators to the intensive care unit upstairs. Once I reached the floor, I used the wall-mounted phone to call into the ward. The night shift nurse who answered was polite but didn't recognize my name. She put me on hold without actually verifying Danielle's presence in the ward. I studied the pastel seascape hanging on the wall. Moments later, she was back on the phone with me, this time using a friendlier tone. Cheney had apparently left word that I was to be admitted. He probably thought I was a cop. I stood in the hallway and watched Danielle through the window to her room. Her hospital bed had been elevated to a slight incline. She seemed to doze, her long dark hair fanned out across the pillow and trailed over the side of the bed. The bruising on her face seemed more pronounced tonight. The white tip across her nose, a stark contrast to the swollen, sooty-looking black and blue eye sockets. Her mouth was puffy. Her jaw had probably been wired shut because there was none of the slack jaw look with someone sleeping. Her IV was still in place, as was her catheter. Do you need to talk to her? I turned to find the nurse from the night before. I don't want to bother her, I said. I'll have to wake her up anyway to take her vital signs. You might as well come in. Just don't upset her. I won't. How's she doing? She's doing pretty well. She's in a lot of pain. And she's on a lot of pain medication, but she's awake off and on. In another day or two, we could probably move her down to medical, but we think she's safer up here. I stood quietly beside the bed while the nurse took Danielle's blood pressure and her pulse, adjusting the drip on her IV. Danielle's eyes came open in that groggy, confused fashion of someone who can't quite remember why she is or why this is happening. So the nurse made a note in the chart and left the room. Danielle's green eyes shone stark in the cloudy mass of bruises around her eyes. I said, "Hi, how are you?" "I've been better," she said through her teeth. "Got my jaw wired shut. That's why I'm talking like this." "I figured as much. Are you in pain?" "No, I'm high." She smiled briefly, not moving her head. "I never saw the guy, in case you're wondering. All I remember is opening the door." "Not surprising," I said. "You may come back in time." "Hope not." "Yeah, tell me if you get tired. I don't want to wear you down." "I'm okay. I like the company. What have you been up to?" "Not much. I'm on my way home from a meeting at the water board." "What a zoo." "The old guy Lorna used to sit for got into a big shouting match with a developer named Stubby Stockton. The rest of the meeting was such a bore until then, it nearly put me to sleep." Danielle made a murmuring sound to show she was listening. Her lids seemed heavy, and I thought she was close to nodding off herself. I'd hoped Stubby's name would spark some recognition, but maybe Danielle didn't have a lot of spark to spare. "Did Lorna ever mention Stubby Stockton to you?" I wasn't sure she even heard me. There was quiet in the room, and then she seemed to rouse herself. "Client," she said. "He was a client?" I said, startled. thought about that for a moment, trying to process the information. That surprises me somehow. He didn't seem like her type. When was this? Long time. I think she only saw him once. Other guy is the one. What other guy? Old guy. The one what? The one who's screwed. Oh, I don't think so. You must have him mixed up with somebody else. Clark Esselman is Serena Bonnie's father. He's the old guy she babysat. She moved her good hand. Looking at the bedclothes. You need something? Water. I looked over at the rolling table. On it was a styrofoam pitcher full of water, plastic cup, and a plastic straw with an accordion section that created a joint about halfway down. You okay to drink this? I don't want you cheating because I don't know any better. She smiled. Wouldn't cheat. Here. I filled the plastic cup and bent the straw, then held the cup near her head, turning the straw at an angle until it touched her lips. She took 3 small sips, sucking slightly. Thanks. You were talking about someone Lorna was involved with? Esselman. You're sure we're talking about the same guy? Ross's father-in-law, right? Well, yeah, but why didn't you tell me before? This could be important. Thought I did. What difference does it make? What difference does it make? Put me in and we'll see what difference. He was into kinky, she winced, trying to rearrange herself slightly in the bed. A spasm of pain seemed to cross her face. You okay? You don't have to talk about this right now. I'm fine. Ribs feel like shit is all. Rest a minute. I waited thinking kinky. I pictured Esselman getting his fanny spanked while he cavorted around in a garter belt. I could see Danielle struggle to pull herself together. He went there after his heart attack, but he came on to her. Said she about fell over. Not that she gave a shit. Buck's a buck. And he paid her a fortune, but she didn't expect it when he seemed so proper. I'll bet. And his daughter never knew? No one did. Then later, Lorna let information slip. She said word got back, and that's the last that she saw of him. She felt bad. Daughter wanted to hire her, but old guy wouldn't have it. What do you mean, word got back? Who'd she let the information slip to? Don't know. After that, she was tight-lipped. Said you only have to learn that lesson once. Behind me, someone said, Excuse me. Danielle's ICU nurse was back. I don't mean to seem rude, but could you wrap it up? The doctors really don't want her having more than 5-minute visits. I understand, that's fine. I look back at Danielle. We can talk about this later. You get some rest. Right. Danielle's eyes closed again. I stayed with her for another minute. More for my sake than hers. And then I eased out of the room. The aide at the nurse's station watched my departure. I found myself uncomfortably trying to conjure up an image of Lorna Kepler with Clark Esselman. And kinky? What a thought. It wasn't his age so much as his aura of formality. I couldn't find a way to reconcile his respectability with his alleged sexual proclivities. Probably been married to Serena's mother for 50 years or more. This all must have happened before Mrs. Esselman died. I made a 6-block detour to Short's Drugs, where I purchased 4 8x10 picture frames to replace the broken frames I'd bought and brought with me from Danielle's. Lorna and Clark Esselman. What an odd combination. The drugstore seemed filled with the same conflicting images. Arthritis remedies and condoms. Bedpans and birth control. While I was at it, I picked up a couple boxes of index cards and then went back to my place, trying to think about something else. I would hope so. Jeez, oh Pete. Hey Jay. Hey Sandra. Good to see you guys. 10 minutes ago. I parked, flipped the driver's seat forward, and hauled the baker's box full of Lorna's papers from under Danielle's blood-spattered clothes. For someone obsessive about the tidiness in my apartment, I seemed to have no compunction at all about the state of my car. I piled my purchases on the box and anchored the load with my chin while I let myself in. I settled in at my desk and hadn't transcribed the consolidated my notes. Hold on, let me look. Make sure the sound is on. Looks good. Alright. Alright, where are we? Green giant. I just bit my tongue. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay, found it. Alright, so I settled in at my desk. I hadn't transcribed or consolidated my notes since the second day I was on the job, and the index cards I'd filled then seemed both scanty and inept. Information accumulates and compounds layer upon layer, affecting perception. Using my notebook, my calendar, gas slips, receipts, and plane ticket, I began to construct the events between Tuesday and today, compelling my interviews with Lorna's boss, Roger Bonney, Joseph Ayers, and Rusty Turpin, up in Los Angeles, aka more near San Francisco. Attorney Serena, Clark Esselman, and the alleged attorney in the limo. Now I had to add Danielle's contention about Lorna's involvement with Clark Esselman. That one I'd have to check out if I could figure out how. I could hardly ask Serena. Actually, it cheered me to see how much ground I'd covered. In 5 days, I constructed a fairly comprehensive picture of Lorna's lifestyle. I found myself getting absorbed in my recollections. As fast as I filled cards, I tacked them onward, a hodgepodge of miscellaneous facts and impressions. It was when I went back through Lorna's finances, transferring data from the schedule of assets, that I caught something I'd missed. Popped into the vial with her stock certificates was the itemized list of jewelry she'd insured. There were 4 pieces listed: a necklace of matching garnets, a matching garnet bracelet, a pair of earrings, and a diamond watch. The appraised value totaling $28,000. Holy shnikes, that's a lot. $28,000? Excuse me? Wow. So the earrings were described as graduated stones, 1/2 to 1 carat diamonds set in double hoops. I'd seen before, but only Berlin had been wearing them, and I'd assumed that they were rhinestones. I checked the time. It was nearly 11, and I was startled to discover I'd been working for almost 2 hours. Really? I picked up the phone and called the Kepler's house, hoping it wasn't too late. Mace answered. What a dick. I hated talking to him. I could hear some kind of televised sporting event blasting away in the background. Probably a prize fight from the sound of the crowd. I stuck a finger up one nostril to disguise my voice. Hey, Mr. Kepler. In Berlin there, please? Who's this? Marcy, I'm a friend. I was over there last week. Yeah, well, she's out. Her and Trini both. You know where she's at? We were supposed to meet up, but I forgot where she was. What did you say your name was? Marcy. Was she over at the palace? There was an ominous silence from him while in the background, someone was really getting pounded. I'll tell you this, Marcy. She better not be over there. She's over at the palace. She's in big trouble with her dad. Is that where she said to meet? No. But I was willing to bet money that that's where she was. I hung up, I pushed the paperwork aside, shrugged into my jacket, and found my bag, pausing only long enough to run a comb through my hair. When I opened my front door, a man was standing just outside. I I leapt back, shrieking, before I saw who it was. JD, what are you doing here? He scared the hell out of me. He jumped too, about the same time I had, and now sagged against the door frame. Oh damn, you scared me. I was all set to knock when you came flying out. He had a hand on his chest. Hang on, my heart's pounding. Sorry if I scared you. I know, you should have called. I just took a chance that I'd see you here. How'd you find out where I live? You gave Lita this card and wrote it right here on the back. Do you mind if I come in? Alright. If you can keep it brief, I said. I was on my way out. There was something to take care of. I moved back from the door and watched him edge his way in. I don't like the idea of just anyone waltzing through my place. If I hadn't had some questions for him, I might have left him on the doorstep. His outfit looked like the one that I'd seen him in before, but then again, so did mine. Both of us wore faded jeans and blue denim jackets. He still sported cowboy boots to my running shoes. I closed the door behind him and moved to the kitchen counter, hoping to keep him away from my desk. Like most people who see my apartment for the first time, he looked around with interest. Pretty slick, he said. I indicated a stool, sneaking a look at my watch. Have a seat. This is okay, I can't stay long anyway. I'd offer you something, but about all I've got is uncooked pasta. You like rotelli, by any chance? Don't worry about it, I'm fine, he said. Pushed on one stool and left the other for him, in case he changed his mind. He seemed ill at ease, standing there with both hands stuck in the back pockets of his jeans. His gaze would hit mine and then flicker off. The light from my living room wasn't as kind to his face as the light in his own kitchen. Or maybe the unfamiliar surroundings had created new lines of tension. I got tired of waiting to hear what he had to say. Can I help you with something? Yeah, well, Lita said you stopped by. We got home around 7 and she's pretty upset. Really? I said, giving it no inflection. I wonder why. What's this business about the tape? I'd like to have it back, if you don't mind. I don't mind a bit. Over to my desk and removed it from the manila envelope that Hector had tucked in. Passed it over to JD and he put it in his pocket without really looking at it. Do you have a chance to listen? He asked. He was being way too casual. Briefly, what about you? Well, I know pretty much what's in it. I mean, I knew what she was doing. I said, with a non-committal nod. Inside, a little voice was going, wow, what's this about? This is interesting. Why was she upset? Well, I guess because she doesn't want the police to find out. I told her I wouldn't take it to them. It's just not very trusting, you know. He's kind of insecure. That much I get, JD, I said. I'm just wondering what's got her so uneasy that she'd send you all the way over here. She's not uneasy. She doesn't want you thinking it was me. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other, smiling with embarrassment, using his very best "ah shucks" routine. I didn't want you putting a hairy eyeball on me. Scrutinizing. If there'd been a little dirt on the floor, he'd have stubbed a toe of his boot in it. I scrutinized everyone. It's nothing personal, I said. In fact, since you're here, what's a question for you? Hey, you go right ahead. I got nothing to hide. Someone mentioned that you were into Lorna's cabin before the cops showed up. He frowned. Somebody said that? Wonder who? I don't think it's any secret. Serena Bonnie, I said. He nodded. Well, that's right. See, I knew we did put Mike in there, and he knew about the tape and didn't want the cops to spot it, so I did what I did. I opened the door, leaned down, and flipped the mic off the wire. I wasn't even there a minute, which is why I never thought it to mention it. Well, did Lorna know she was being taped? I never said anything. Tell you the truth, I was embarrassed by Lita's behavior. You know, by her attitude. She treated Lorna kind of snippy. She's young and immature, and Lorna's already giving me a hard time about her. If I told her Lita was spying on us, she'd have either laughed her butt off or gotten pissed, and I didn't think it would help their relationship. You had a bad relationship? Well, no, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't that good. Lita was jealous, I suggested. She might have been a little jealous, I guess. So what are you here to tell me? That really everything's alright between you and Lita? And neither one of you had any reason to want Lorna out of the way, right? It's the truth. I know you think somehow I had something to do with it. Lorna's death. Could I think that? You told me you were out of town. That's right, and she was too. I was set to go fishing with my brother-in-law, and at the last minute she decided to go up Santa Maria with me while I picked him up. She said she'd rather hang out with her sister than stay here by herself. Why are you repeating all this stuff? I don't get it. Because you act like you don't believe us. Gosh, JD, how could I fail to believe you when you provide such nice alibis for each other? It's not an alibi, now goddammit. How can I be an alibi when all I'm doing is telling you where we were? Whose vehicle did you take to Lake Nacimiento? He hesitated. My brother-in-law has a truck. We took that. Santa Maria is an hour away. How do you know Lita didn't drive back in your car? I don't for sure, but you could ask her sister. She'd tell you. Right. No, she would. Oh, come on. If you'd lie for Lita, why wouldn't her sister lie too? Somebody else must have seen her on Saturday. I think she said they had a makeup party that morning. Where some cosmetic sales lady comes and does facials on everyone, so they'll buy Mary Jane products or whatever it is. You don't have to get mad, Mary Kay, but you're right. I shouldn't get mad. I told Lita that I'd verify all of this. I haven't had a chance to do it, so it's my fault, not yours. Now I see. I don't know how you do that. Even when you apologize, you make it sound like you don't mean it. Why are you being so cranky with me? JD, I'm cranky because I'm in a hurry, and I don't understand what you're up to. I'm not up to anything. I just came to get the tape. I thought while I was here I'd, discuss it. Anyway, you're the one that asked me. I didn't volunteer. Now it seems like I made it worse. Okay, I accept that. Let's let it go at that. Otherwise, we'll be standing around all night explaining ourselves to one another. Okay, as long as you're not mad at me, not a bit. And you believe me? I never said that. I said I accept it. Oh well, okay then. I guess that's okay. You can feel my eyes. Fins crossed. BT Shane. As the drama gets deeper. So I think we have 2 more chapters to go before we're done with this book. Let me see. I was hoping we'd get through it tonight, but yeah. We got 2 more chapters. Please. So on this break, we are going to once again hear from Miss Mia Savage with her band, which is her, just like Trent Rose. Antidote for Savages. If you want to check her out, go over to Instagram and look up Antidote for Savages. You'll find her there. She's got some really awesome music going on, if you haven't heard it already. Bury Me in Heaven is one of my favorites. Not a Phase, Singing to Your Grave, and The Bottom Line. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
guys try to tell us that there was, but let the demons run amok. But it doesn't matter, because it's just a ride, and we can change it in round one. It's all the choice. No record, no work, no job, no savings of money. Just a choice right now between fear and love. Right now, between fear and love.
Hello. Thanks for joining me tonight. We are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I must say, you look magnificent tonight. So during our third hour, we share a video together. And this video is a pretty amazeballs, I'm assuming, just because this guy always does a really good job. I haven't watched this video yet. I shared it for us to watch together, so I hope you have a nice drink ready, some puppety popcorn, and either whoopee, blanket, whatever you need to get going. Oh man. Okay, hold on. It's processing. Processing. Hello? Hello? What is happening? What is slapping and happening? Okay. It's not. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Like, it's not sharing what's happening. Okay, so while it's loading, this is by That Is Impossible. Make sure you go over there. Please subscribe to his channel and watch his videos. Like I said, he does a very epic job on his videos, so make sure you tune in, like his videos, please subscribe.
In just a few moments.
Holy crap. Oh man, we're having fish for dinner.
Look at that streak across the sky, y'all. 2:48 in the morning.
What the crap is that?
It's flying around. Just in case it starts doing weird movements.
That's almost like an angel.
You zoomed in?
Yeah.
Somebody's walking around out there very close to the tent.
Have an update regarding the time traveler.
Mess around with my little
so
sister's
weird.
camera, and we just found something. Like, look at her face.
Hi, I'm James Lafleur and you're watching the Impossible Channel. Welcome aboard. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications on for more videos like this. Today we're going to be taking a look at mind-blowing phenomenon caught on camera. From the unexplained videos of a supposed time traveler that was caught on camera this week, to a mysterious stone with supernatural powers that was uncovered deep in the woods in Brazil. These and many more creepy videos of encounters in the woods, unexplained glitches, and paranormal activity. Are you guys ready? Well, let's go. Just picture the following situation. It's a beautiful and sunny day outside, and you're with your friends or family and you decide to go for a walk. Everyone is expecting to have a great time, and this is exactly what happens up until the moment that you look high up in the sky and you spot what looks like some sort of metallic object.
I was recording video, but then it disappeared. Where'd it go?
Oh my gosh, look at that! It's a flock of seagulls! Just kidding, it's not. What are those?
Just in case it starts doing weird movements. It's predator.
So you get your camera, you zoom in, and it's not an object. It's nothing
Squidbilly.
like you've seen before.
My phone's on. Right now. Okay, so.
This is exactly what happened with a family in San Antonio, Texas a while ago, when they spotted what looked like some sort of flying humanoid with wings. This is what they caught on camera. Check this out.
Where'd it go?
Yeah, where the heck is it? Oh, I see it. Where'd it go? Zoom in! It's so hard to get things to focus on things like this. Oh my goodness.
Where is it?
Oh wow.
What the f is that?
What the crack is that? Is it a baboon?
Huh.
Could be a mylar balloon. I don't know, it's a really weird shape, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Can I
Looks almost like an angel.
You zoomed in?
Looks like a giant Johnson!
see? Can I see it, Mom? Can I see it?
What the crap is
Look
that?
at it.
I can't see it.
At this moment, the family captures what looks like a giant winged creature, and what's really strange about it is that its wings seem to be shining. In other words, it seems like it could be metallic. What's even weirder is that its movement seems to be organic, so it's not a drone or anything like that.
I was recording video, but then it disappeared. Where'd it go?
Whatever this thing is, it seems as if it's too big to be any known animal, like a bird, for example. Strange, isn't it? What makes it even stranger is that it's not the first time that something like this is seen.
Hey, Yaz, what does it look like?
Like it.
Actually, I don't know.
Holy crack. What the heck is that? It's like a skyworm.
Since 2017, creatures like this one have been sighted all over the world, including Spain and Chile.
And they saw what looked like a very large man, 6 or 7 feet tall. And looking back, this thing rose up in the air and followed their car. And they were going over 60 miles an hour.
In most sightings, people describe seeing what looks like a large bat or
I don't know
bird-like
if you know, but
entity with
Mothman is
glowing
rough.
eyes and humanoid features. And in ancient culture, there's loads of myths of winged creatures that can fly. After
Crazy.
being posted, the video amassed millions of views and thousands of comments, and people were divided. Some believe that this is just a bird or maybe
Yeah,
a
I believe
balloon,
that was the
while
Anunnaki.
others state
That was
that
in
this
that
is
picture.
possibly an angel
It's a
or
bird,
some
it's
sort
flying.
of unknown humanoid creature. What's really creepy about this is the amount of people who claim to have seen something similar. But when it comes to strange things in the sky, it doesn't stop there.
Oh my goodness.
Van a faltar 2 torres nuevas.
Somebody blew a really big vape ring.
Pero eso de allá será que se suben
Oh wow.
Yo creo.
Porque eso debe ser por otro lado.
¿Eso qué es?
Wow.
On April this year, at approximately 2:30 a.m. in the morning, a woman goes outside and notices something strange in the sky. She gets her camera and immediately starts recording what was about to become one of the strangest videos when it comes to mysterious lights in the sky. Check this out.
Look at that streak across the sky, y'all.
Is that Aurora Borealis? What is that?
What the f is that?
What the crap is that?
long streak across the sky here at 2:48 a.m.
Weird.
I'm just getting home from my gig at Swig.
Why is the car sitting there like that? That was so
Up
weird.
in the sky. I'm like, I ain't never seen nothing like that. No rainbow, nothing like that in the sky.
Looks like
at night.
Aurora Borealis, baby.
In the early morning, wee hours of the morning. What the?
That's amazing. And so pretty.
Hey, y'all. Feedback? Tell me what's going on.
I don't know, sister.
But yeah, that's what's going on in the night sky here. I hear
Weird.
Parker say it early in the morning. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I got that on film.
What looks
Good
like
job,
a huge
sister.
streak of light can clearly be seen in the night sky. The location is unknown, but several people believe that this could be in Arizona or maybe in Utah. After being posted, several people left comments stating that this is possibly a light strobe or maybe a spotlight coming in from a party or an event on the ground. Others believe that this could be the aurora due to the fact there will be a strange
That's what I was
magnetic
saying.
anomaly going
Aurora
on in the
Borealis.
US that could actually make the aurora visible in certain states. Others believe that this could be some sort of portal or maybe a time rift opening up in the sky.
Say
Now
what?
at first, this
Karaoke.
might sound far-fetched, but if we take into consideration certain strange sightings that happened this month, like this one for instance from Buenos Aires, Argentina, where a person captured what looks like some sort of portal-like object high up in the sky.
It's about to rip
It
open a
could just
hole
be
in
that
the
there's something
universe.
strange going on we're not aware
Sorry, I
of.
got excited.
But I'm not too sure. What's your take? Do you think that this could be just a spotlight or something like that? Or is it something else entirely?
Looks like Aurora Borealis, except for it's not moving. It's freaking weird.
Have you ever heard of the Philosopher's Stone or out-of-place artifacts?
Yes.
Back in the 1400s, a French manuscript seller by the name of Nicolas Flamel developed a reputation of being an alchemist, and a pretty good
His
one.
head's kind of flat.
And
That's
at the
weird.
time, he claimed to have discovered the Philosopher's Stone, a stone that was known to have supernatural capabilities. Now, the legend of the Philosopher's Stone begins somewhere in ancient Egypt, and it tells of a substance that can turn any metal into gold and grant eternal life. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what's most interesting is that
That'd be
very little
nice.
is known about the Philosopher's Stone, its origin, from, and how it all started. Now,
those
even though
slunkers.
it's considered a myth or just a bad time story,
What the heck
to
is
this
that?
day,
That is so
researchers and
weird.
archaeologists are still in search for evidence was deep in the woods in Brazil when all of a sudden he came across this mysterious stone. Check this out.
Oh, wow.
Tava quente, John.
Não, tá gelado.
Tá gelado?
No, it's cold.
Ué?
What?
Credo.
Não, tá esquentando, cara. Tá esquentando.
It's getting hotter. Oh,
Caramba, tá quente mesmo.
yeah.
Tá mesmo, cara.
Weird.
Vai pegar nela.
Caraca, meu. Que coisa, cara.
Ela esquenta.
Caraca.
Põe aqui na... Ó. Ó, não sei se dá pra você ver, ó.
Olha lá as bolinhas lá, ó.
Oh my
Ó, tá
goodness.
borbulhando.
Ó.
Não é possível, cara. Ó, ficou bem vermelha, cara. Olha isso. Olha, ficou vermelha.
That is
Ó,
crazy.
ficou vermelha.
Mudou a cor, ó. O cameraman pegou legal, ó.
Gente do céu.
While metal detecting somewhere
That's
in the
insane.
woods in Brazil, they came across this wooden box with certain details in gold, and inside of it was this rock. Whatever this thing is, it apparently can change color and temperature when someone touches it or when it comes in
That's
contact
amazing.
with water.
Aí, ó. Ah, tá voltando a cor. Tá voltando. Ó, gente. Tá
Oh, yeah, it's
voltando a
kind
cor.
of misty in the middle, then it gets like brighter and brighter. That's interesting.
In this particular part of the video, we can see it heating up the water. And
Is
then,
it
when they put it
boiling?
back into the box,
Vem aqui, ó. Pessoal, nós vamos juntar.
it gets colder and you can clearly see it changing color.
Credo, John.
Up until this moment, there's not much information on what this mysterious rock could be, but I'm guessing that this is most likely some sort of ancient artifact, maybe even
What's an
related
alien?
to ancient myths of underground cities hidden deep within the Amazon forest. After being posted, the video amassed millions of views and caught a lot of attention. Many internet users believe that this could be the Philosopher's Stone, while others state that this is a carnelian crystal, and some others believe that this is red
crystal?
mercury. Tales about this supernatural substance known as red mercury began circulating back in the 1940s.
Oh my gosh.
And it was said to be a material so valuable and so dangerous that it was only handled by top-level leaders and scientists. There are many theories about its composition, but to this day, no one really knows what it's made of or if it actually exists.
That's freaking
However,
crazy.
there are many videos out there of people who claim to have a hold of this as red mercury.
Freddie
In
Mercury.
most cases, these artifacts are said to have originated from pharaonic times in ancient Egypt. And most of the times, these artifacts have very similar supernatural properties.
Oh my goodness. Is it gonna, oh my gosh. Is that how the sea turned red or the river? Oh my gosh. This is so freaking weird.
When in contact with water and certain liquids, it heats them up. It interferes with electronic devices.
Wow. It's like a magnet, but not. But it's so
It does not
creative.
reflect on a mirror.
What? Oh my gosh, that is so freaking weird.
Among many other strange properties, which begs the question, if this is indeed real, is this alien-like artifact actually from Earth? Or was it made by
I
an
don't think
advanced
so.
civilization that may have inhabited this planet somewhere in the past?
Anunnaki?
Now, if the stone that was supposedly found by John Ventura in Brazil is indeed red mercury, I'm not exactly sure.
It's crazy they have
It
a
does
name
seem
for
to
it.
have some strange
Philosopher's
properties.
Stone. Why is it
Do you
called
think
that?
this could be the Philosopher's Stone, red mercury, or something else entirely? What's your take?
I don't know, I call it Freddie. Freddie Mercury!
Now, I don't know if you know about this, but every year around 38 million people go camping just in the US alone.
Oh yeah.
That's quite a lot of people. And from all of these people, some of them
Go
choose to
camping,
go
not
stealth
glamping.
camping, which is a bit different. Now, stealth camping is about living temporarily in a location, usually for recreation, in a covert or secretive fashion. And for the past few months, a YouTube channel by the name of the Northwest
military
Wing
tends
has
to be
been doing
built
videos focused on stealth
in the military.
camping. And in most of them, things go just about
Not in
right.
boot camp, but
in
during
one
combat
particular
training,
video, he decides
pretty
to go
cool.
camping deep in the woods next to a park.
Rain today. There's only 2 other cars parked over there right now. People come jog here, come ride their bikes here. It is a dog park.
It's a cloudy day, and Sam is prepared to spend the night in the woods. He expects things to go smoothly, but they don't. This is what happens.
I'm scared.
So that was the end of the official trail. There's all kinds of unofficial trails that go all through these woods. It's a couple hundred acres. Don't think you're allowed to camp back here, but I'm not camping. I'm just gonna lay my head for the night in a stealthy way.
After
Watch
walking
out
for
for
about
Piglet
15
and the
minutes, he
owl.
decides to
I've
set
seen
up
a
his
scary movie
tent.
about that.
He notices, however, that there's something strange about this particular spot.
This looks pretty nice up here.
Looks like a good camping
We're gonna
spot
call
for
this
sure.
home for the evening.
Well, look. Okay, look at that by that tree. All these different branches,
Relatively.
those things tucked against the tree.
What do you know?
That's gotta be
Looks like
be
a
like
tent or a
Bigfoot's
tarp.
house or
That kind
something.
of sketches me out.
What the fuck is that? A tent that was destroyed?
So that's the remains of a
I
tent
wonder if there's a
and
body
tarp.
in there.
Back here before?
And ran away?
At
Maybe
this
you
point,
shouldn't
we
be
can
there?
see Sam having second thoughts about camping
Oh,
at this
shit.
particular
No,
spot.
I would not.
But
I
after
would
observing
not.
the
Or pick
surroundings,
someplace
he camps
else.
there anyway. And this
Oh my
is
goodness.
what happens.
Alright, so
This is
it's getting
freaking
dark.
crazy.
Somebody just walked by. I don't know if they had a dog or not, but they definitely didn't see me, but I could barely see them.
Oh
The tent does
no.
not sit high at all. I've been sitting on my pelly case. One thing I don't like is the low
I
ceiling.
just heard a voice. Did you hear that Mel
After
voice?
setting up the tent, he vlogs for a while and then
Did
he
you
goes
hear
to
that?
sleep.
I heard
And
that.
this is when things take a really strange turn.
There's somebody. Hang on. I don't know if they can see it or not through the tent. I don't think so. I'm leaning right up against the light, but Somebody's
This is
walking
crazy.
around out there very close to the tent.
Things get strange and creepy real quick. And Sam, now completely desperate and anxious, tries to talk to whomever or whatever is outside. And this is what happens.
Hello? Hello?
He was touching his tent.
Hello?
Oh, shit.
Alright, I don't like this. Hello?
Me neither,
Hello?
and I'm not even there.
They're touching my tent. Stop. They're right outside the tent.
My muffin.
Hello? I'm in here. Hello?
Yeah. What's their ass?
Alright, I'm getting the out of here.
Oh
Hello?
my gosh. You're braver than I
This is
am.
where we're getting out of here. Hang on. Hello? Okay, they're
I couldn't Rambo it like that.
What do you want?
Really.
What do you want?
Your soul.
I have a knife. Where's my
Myth?
Now pretty
Yeah,
scared,
you got a
Sam
knife. Where's
reaches
my
for
knife?
everything inside of his tent with the intention of leaving this place as fast as possible. When he goes outside,
I need to get all my
this is what
destinies done
happens.
tonight, but I can't.
collapsed my tent on me?
Can't do it on my
I don't know
own.
which way they went.
Can we take power tomorrow?
No.
I promise I will.
No.
They went this way.
Why?
I
Tonight.
see you.
Why?
Get away!
Tomorrow is school. Right?
Please do what I
I'm
asked.
spooked. I don't like this. Get my headlamp on and work.
But it's
Get out of
9:36
here right now.
already.
They collapsed my tent on me and pulled the fly off while I was still in there. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. All right, they're moving again. I don't know. I'm getting out of here. We're going. I'll come back for this some other time. All right, get the hell out of here. I'm leaving. Don't follow me.
Run for
I don't
your
know where
life,
to go.
dude.
I don't know which way to get out of here.
At this point, Sam gets the heck out of there as fast as possible, so he starts running towards his car. The only problem is, whomever or whatever was there outside his tent seems to be following him. Check this
Oh
out.
man.
Hang on. Is
that's
this still
creepy.
recording? Is it still recording? Is it still recording?
Yeah.
Right
I
at the
see
edge of
you.
the wood line. It's about 150 yards away. Hang on.
What is
You
that?
see that? I see
Yeah,
you!
what is that?
I can see you!
What the heck is that?
Oh, it's getting bigger. It's getting bigger. All right, let's get.
Oh my
I don't know if
gosh.
they're like after me or something, or what the.
That's creepy, whatever it is. I don't know.
We're getting. It's getting bigger. They're coming this way. Oh, I like this. I'm calling the police.
After a few minutes, he reaches his car and gets the heck out of there safely.
Okay.
I would say I've called the
getting out of here.
police.
To this day, Sam does not know whom or what was following him around.
It's so creepy. Oh man.
My phone, everything's muddy, disgusting. My knee, I'm soaked. I gotta go home. All right, let's drive
I
out.
want to know your
Get the
thoughts.
hell out of there.
What would you have done differently in this situation? Since the dawn of civilization, humanity
Probably
has
done the
always
same
been
thing.
captivated by mysterious and unexplained phenomena. Think about it. 500 years ago, people had virtually no means to verify their encounters with the inexplicable, whether it was a bizarre creature or a beam of light descending from the sky.
What? No. Am I tripping? You cannot.
Definitely something that if you showed your friends or family, they would not believe it unless they saw it with their own eyes. The ability to capture such events and share them with family or even the world is very recent. But something that I've come to notice is that even in our modern era, equipped with CCTV cameras capturing our every move, there's very little video evidence of the existence of time travel, or at least that was the case until last week.
Coming onto my property to what looks like rob my house
I saw this.
Just a couple of weeks ago,
That's
Alex
crazy.
Shaw posted a very strange video to his account.
Yes.
Now, normally
it
Alex
is
posts
very
videos
strange.
related to his real estate business. But in one particular video, just about 2 weeks ago on April 28th, something really strange happened at an Airbnb that he has in Miami. Something that he couldn't
Oh my
explain.
gosh, man.
This is what he
Super
caught on camera.
creepy.
Coming onto my property to what looks like rob my house, but it actually turns out he is a time traveler. So as you can see, he's wandering around my backyard.
He looks
I don't know
exactly
what
at the camera.
he's trying to do. Now he's like thinking like where to go, and he actually ends up going into my shed. So you can see he opens it.
He's like, I'll
goes
open
into
the portal
shed.
here.
So I'm fast forwarding the time so you can see there's no movement. He never leaves the shed. And I'm talking on the camera. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you in my shed? Never answers. He never leaves the shed. I literally was watching it the whole time. So I end up calling the police. You could see in the last one, the police coming through the front yard. And then here's the police coming into the backyard. And you can see they literally go inside. They go inside and I'm talking to them.
Hey, can you hear me? Yes, sir. Hello? Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
At this point, Alec talks to the policeman through his ring camera, and this is what happens.
Okay. Was he not in that shed?
No, he was not. There's nobody in there. Both sheds.
What the? Okay, I'm sorry for wasting you guys' time. I really didn't see him leave the shed though, so I don't know how he's not in there.
At this point, policemen check the shed once more, and there's absolutely no trace at all of the young man who went inside. It's as if he disappeared into thin air. Alec then posts a full video with sound of the young man going inside the shed.
So this is the full video with sound. So you hear if he talks. He does talk at some point here. I've watched this so many times to see. But you can see him like wandering around, like he throws up his arms. He's about to talk. See, he talks right there. He says, like, what is he looking for? Like he's being super mysterious, and then he goes into the shed.
At this point, the young man goes into the shed, and according to Alec's ring cameras, he never comes out. The same day, policemen check the shed and there's no one there. Strange, isn't it? But it gets even stranger. The next day, Alec's ring cameras capture an older person leaving the shed, as if materialized out of thin air.
The shed the next day and goes off screen, and a lot of people think I'm hiding the front camera footage of him leaving because they think this is a skit. So let's look at the front camera and see where he goes. To the front camera, you can see him walking to the front, but yeah, he's looking sus. He walks out the gate. He's looking back at the house, like I don't know what he's looking at, you know, suspiciously crosses the street, and then there's a car here.
This is when something really odd happens. The old man looks inside the car as if he's looking for someone or something, but apparently there's no one inside.
And he like looks through the passenger window, and then it's gonna stutter a little bit because it's going between clips. But he looks through the passenger window and then just continues walking.
A few moments later, however, the car turns on, makes a U-turn, and goes the same direction as the old man, as if it was waiting for him.
Now this part's a little creepy because when he looked through the car, it looked like nobody was in the car. Like that car was sitting there for a little bit.
No, I saw somebody driving.
Really strange, isn't it? But here's where things get even stranger. Alec's videos caught a lot of attention and the internet was divided. Some people believe that this is the real deal, while others think that this is a very elaborate hoax, and it could be. But then, an internet profile by the name of Maddie Icerance started digging around, so he did a reverse search on the old man.
Sorry.
And what he found may actually prove that this is not some elaborate hoax.
Freaking time travel. And it looks like those glasses were same guy. Just
and
here's
when you
part.
search the image, it looks like this guy, Stephen Albert Miller. And that's his picture from Quora, where he asks questions about time travel.
So Maddie does a reverse search and comes across Stephen Miller, who studied at Harvard University and was very interested in time travel. What a coincidence, isn't it? But it doesn't stop there.
I also found an obituary for Stephen Albert Miller from 2018, July of 2018, and there was only one person that posted like a little tribute, and there it is right there. So I searched that person in the Book of Faces, found another tribute, but this one is dated 2017.
What?
Saying that he died in 2018.
To make things even stranger, Maddie also found an interview with Stephen Miller.
Steve also had a design, like a graphic design website. Very in-depth interview with him.
They say
very
it's not them. They say it's us.
In sound, like frequencies and resonance, and metaphysical transference of consciousness.
He also came across a website that states that Stephen Miller had a house in Florida.
But the shed is located in Florida. Steve also has a previous address of Sarasota, Florida.
Okay.
Now, if Stephen Miller is indeed a time traveler or not, I'm not exactly sure, and I guess that no one is. But if we slow-mo and replay both videos of the young man going inside the shed...
Yeah, it's a young guy goes in there, and the old man comes out. And the cops even go and check it out.
The guy getting out.
And there's nobody there.
It seems as if they're legit. There's no explanation to what's going on here. Not only that, there's too many strange coincidences. Could both the young and the older man be the same person? Are they actually Stephen Miller? Or is there something else entirely going on here? But when it comes to unexplained and mysterious glitches caught on camera, it doesn't stop there.
Really? Yeah, they do. What's going on?
In this particular video, a security guard notices something strange at 6:45 a.m. in the morning. He was just about to leave his shift on the second floor of a building he works at, when all of a sudden he notices a man standing in the middle of the street.
Stupid dogs.
It's when he checks the security cameras that he notices that something's not right. This is what he saw.
This is what he saw. Okay, what did he see? Oh, really? You can't? Weird.
It's when he checks the security cameras that he
Showed that
notices.
it was, Can you hear it now? I can't. Because I muted it because
the security cameras do not seem to be picking anyone up, even though there's clearly a person standing on the middle of the street.
Check my settings really quick.
After being posted, several internet users left comments stating that the man was standing at a blind spot. But then others believe that this is possibly a ghost or spirit due to the fact that the man does not seem to have a shadow. Others also believe this could be a legit glitch in the Matrix.
Do you still hear it, Lynn?
But it gets even stranger. A couple of friends were enjoying their time at a beach in Brazil when all of a sudden they noticed a shadow being cast on the ground. There was nothing that could explain it.
Is that better,
Check
Lynn?
this out.
Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, when there's no cloud like that. It's so weird. Is it still echoing, or is it better, Lynn? Like, there's some clouds like that. Well, yeah, well, there's a shadow, but there's no cloud or anything. Yeah, I think it's a UFO that's close. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, Lynn. Thanks for letting me know. That's what I'm saying, a cloaked UFO.
After being posted, internet users were divided. Some state that this is a legit glitch in the Matrix, while others state that this is just burned sand. Now, taking into consideration that this is not the first time something like this happens.
See that shadow?
Yep, there's no cloud, there's a shadow. That is crazy. Isn't it?
Where are the clouds?
It could just be the real
And it
deal.
can't be like-
However, I'm gonna leave it up to you.
It can't be like
what do you really
this,
think is going
like,
on here?
mountain
And
of
have you ever
shadowing
seen
on
or
the
captured a
edge.
glitch in the
Yeah,
Matrix
that's
yourself?
weird. I saw that
Let me
video
know down in the
earlier, and I
comments
think it
below.
was on Casper's site. It was like, maybe it's because the mountains
Since the very beginning of humanity, it's always
that
been
could be
quite
causing
common for
the
kids
shadow,
to
but
have
I don't know.
imaginary friends.
think it's
In
another
a not so distant past, it was very common for people to think that these imaginary friends were maybe ghosts or spiritual entities. Nowadays, researchers have come to the conclusion that most imaginary friends are just a coping mechanism for kids to cope with changes, such as stress, moving to a new house, or changing school. And taking into consideration that 60% of people had an imaginary friend during their childhood, it's pretty certain to say that most of the times, imaginary friends are just a figment of people's imagination. But sometimes, it
I messed
isn't.
around with my little sister's camera.
Oh no.
And we just found something.
I don't know if you've seen this one, but I've seen it before.
It's weird.
Super freaking
It was
creepy.
late
She's
one
talking
night,
about
and Charity Lewis was watching the vlog type videos her young sister had been
the guy
recording for
coming
the
out
past
to
few
skibidi.
days. And all of a sudden,
Toilet what?
this happens. Check
Skibbity
this.
toilet.
It's
They
weird.
got this skibbity, this
Okay,
skibbity, blah blah blah.
I'm just gonna show
She's
it
sitting
to
there
you.
explaining it. All of a sudden, she looks up.
Here it is. Just like look at
So
her
creepy.
face.
No way is she good enough actress to pull this off. Seriously.
The other day, and we went on a walk.
Here's her skibbities.
And we also got ice cream that day. And I'm having a lot of fun.
See, she sees it.
Nothing.
That is a look of genuine fear.
Yeah, seriously, right. She blinks. She maintains eye contact or whatever with it. And then she finally goes from fight, flight, or freeze and whips the hell out. Get away from that skibbity. I blame the skibbity toilet.
So we're like, what did she see, right?
No, but watch and you'll fast forward and you'll see something run by. It's super creepy. Watch, you'll see it. Watch.
While playing with her toys inside a dollhouse, Charity Lewis's young sister apparently sees something. Scared, she leaves the dollhouse screaming out loud. Now one could easily say that this is just a kid freaking out and imagining things. But what happens next left
for
Charity
real.
Lewis and
She's
the
not
entire
imagining,
internet
like, she
freaked
actually
out.
saw.
This is what was caught on camera.
Okay, here it goes. It's about to go. It's okay. It's my.
And there.
Whoa,
See it?
yeah.
It's my.
There's no like window. There's nothing. There's nowhere that could have come from. Like, we just like don't know what's going on. If you have any idea, please.
Did you see
So
that?
freaking creepy.
What looks like a tall shadow
It was like
figure
this little
can clearly be
kid.
seen
Like,
crossing the
you
hallway, creeping towards Charity's young
I could
sister.
hear it from the bathroom.
Whatever this
And
thing
the kid
is,
was like
it seems
talking
to
to
be
somebody, and it's like
featureless,
this
as
little
if it
toddler.
does not have any
Like
legs.
he doesn't even have hair enough.
Is
and
this
he doesn't
possibly
even
a
know
legit
full
shadow
sentences.
person caught on
But
camera?
she's like, "Who are you
Or is it
talking to?"
something
Because there's no one else in the
entirely?
bathroom. And he
But
points
when it
at
comes to
that
paranormal
vents. He
phenomena,
says,
it
"There's
doesn't
a
stop there.
man."
In this next video, a mother had
doesn't
set up
like
a
seeing it.
CCTV
Oh, this
camera on
one.
her
I remember
child's
this
room
one.
after she started hearing
Yeah.
strange
How did
noises
she get
at
pulled
night.
under?
Yeah.
One
we were
particular
watching
this one.
occasion, she
Here's this
captured
one.
And
this
we were
on
watching it in the
camera.
kitchen.
Oh no.
Whoa.
Oh wow. I didn't see that before. What is that? Oh, it's getting bigger.
It is. Like, maybe it's her toy, but probably not. And, like, as soon as she puts her foot down, it disappears.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, look under here. Don't be scared.
That video freaking scared me so.
And then did you see what was actually under there? It was like some haunted doll.
Yeah. You could just barely see it. It's like the mom took a video. Oh my god. In the dark. Ooh, I don't like
It's about to happen.
I don't like this.
I hate this.
And she couldn't, like, pull herself up, like, the way, like...
No, she's screaming.
Yeah, like, she wouldn't do that. And, like, the way she was pulled under, it was... Like, the time gap was bigger than her arm, so she couldn't have, like, pulled herself.
Right?
You know?
So freaking creepy.
No.
And your mom comes in and freaking saves her, thank goodness. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that she was actually there.
Yeah.
She's like, what's
Whatever
happening?
happens here, it seems as if an invisible force pulls the girl under the bed. She
So
screams as
scary.
high as she can. Her
Yeah,
mother comes over
Adrian,
and
way
gets
she
her
was,
out
like,
of the room.
dragged under.
After posting the video to the internet, many people
Yeah,
left comments asking her if she had checked under the
And, like,
bed.
the way her legs
Next
were
thing she
just, like,
does, and this
stiff,
is
and they
what
didn't
happens.
bend, which means she didn't pull herself under. Completely.
Uh-oh, what's this?
Who checked under the bed? This is where
Don't do it.
the doll is.
Don't do it.
No.
I'm scared.
We haven't been in the room in the last 2 days. We've been a little scared.
I don't like it. I don't like it a lot.
Just a giant doll just sitting on the floor.
Yeah. What was that? Did you see that move?
Yeah.
What the heck is that?
Not like when you'll see under there, and like when we were watching it, you couldn't hear any shuffling, so it couldn't have been her daughter under there pushing it.
It's a skibbity toilet again?
You were so embarrassing.
No, I'm scared. Dr. Crack, what's happening?
Just look. See those little stripes and stuff?
That's weird.
See that little doll?
Yeah, haunted little freaking doll, right?
That's freaking scary.
No! It looks like a girl holding a doll. Did you see the arm wrap
Did you
around
see
it?
that? All of a sudden,
Yeah,
the
look,
doll
yeah.
seems to move by itself. And whatever's going on here, I'm
Oh,
not certain, but
I
there's
see.
something really creepy about this doll.
That's the
After
face.
posting the
like,
video to the internet,
Yeah.
some
Baby
people
doll,
left
and you can see
comments
its tail,
asking
like,
her if
what-
the
no, it
doll
looks
was
like a
by any
kid.
chance
yeah,
mechanical.
it's
She
realistic.
answers that she bought
Like
the
you
doll
can
on
see
Amazon,
when it's
and
like
no,
you can
the doll
see
is
that
not
its hand like
mechanical.
pushed its head
You're
up.
saying that the doll is mechanical, and that's how it moved.
Mechanical dog.
That doll is plastic. That doll is stuffed. I checked. I looked at Amazon. There is no way that thing should have moved like
After
that.
doing some research, she also came across the
I don't
information
I
that
don't
her
know.
house
If
had
it
been
was
built
fake,
next
good
to
job
an
on
old
that one.
cemetery.
Yeah,
So a lot of you guys
like
had
that
asked
would be
me
like really good editing.
We've done
Right.
research on the house,
Because
and
like
did.
if it's fake, why
I
would she
found
like go
out
under
that
the bed like that?
I don't know, she ran really quick though.
past
She's like, oh, that's
people that have lived here have had some ghostly encounters. I learned that
Not
it
everything's fake,
was
not
built
everything's real.
near, not on, but near a
I
cemetery.
think I hear your brother
Creepy,
getting
isn't
with the chowder.
Now, I'm not exactly sure if this is the real deal or not.
Yeah,
so
that's what
people
Lily was
believe that
saying.
the mother is actually
be really
faking
good
this
editing,
for
but
views,
what?
while others
See, when that
believe
kid
she
gets
was
dragged
legit
under there,
scared, and
that's
so was
that
her
dude.
daughter.
That's why I never looked
I
under
want to
my
know your
bed.
thoughts. Have you ever come across shadow people or haunted dolls?
Oh,
And what do
I
you
hear
think
the
about these
police.
particular
I hear the
videos?
police.
Could it be that they're just a hoax? Or is
Did you
it the
hear
real
that?
deal?
They're coming for me. Didn't know what I did last summer.
This is it for now, but we do have more videos. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications on for more videos like this. Also, if you'd like to send me strange videos, thatimpossible@gmail.com. And I'll see you.
So like I was saying, if you've never been to That's Impossible, please go over there, like, subscribe. All his videos are freaking epic. Yeah, exactly, Adrian. Really, who knows? But when that kid got drug under the bed, and then her mom comes like 5 minutes later, is like, could you have gotten there a little bit quicker? Well, I guess the dogs don't agree. Anyways. Let's over here do our outro song, shall we? Turn it down a smidge.
I didn't put all of my clothes on yet, but Lily, it's time for you to do the shower.
Okay, thanks for letting everybody know. Oops. What was that? Was that the heater?
It was a monster.
Oh, nice. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me this evening for Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. It's awesome hanging out with you, and reading you some stories, and then watching this video from That's Impossible. Like I said, please go over there, subscribe, like, leave any comments. Exactly. That is super crazy. Yeah, he came in, peeked his head, and said, yeah, anyways, you heard it. Right, so, here we go. Thank you to all of our friends on We Are Paradox Media's Facebook, JPN Radio, eTalk Radio, Twitter, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, wherever you may be listening. You're on the Omniverse tonight. It was awesome having you. Yes, kids are funny, and kids say the darndest things. Anyways, next weekend, I don't know, we might do creepy TikToks, and then on Sunday, we might be doing a concert. I don't know, because it's really good money, but I hate to leave my show just dangling and nothing happening, so I know. Don't forget, we're all in this together. Together, we can make the world a bit better, and together, my friends, we are Paradox Media, because without you, there's no us. Until next time, night-night, love and light. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Please take care of my youths, take care of each other. Because, hey, ain't none of us getting out of here alive, and the more we help each other, the better off we are. So, thanks for joining me. Love you so much. Take care of yourselves. Love you. Bye.
I'm in the shower. Could you look at my test pins, please? Hold on.